right, y'all. Welcome back to the Hedge with Double D. It has been too long.
The Hedge with Double D.
We've missed you. I hope you've missed us too. It's so good to be back. Talk a little football. Woo!
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. The summer has been long. It's been fun, but it's been too long without our football. So we're gonna.
It's been tough, man. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but it's the worst part of my gambling year is baseball season. I don't know it enough, so I'm ready to start talking. I'm so glad to be back.
I've got a good baseball system that I've got down, but we're not talking about baseball. We're talking about football. So let's talk football. All right, guys. So what we're gonna do as we preview the football season. Well, first, you know what? I'm jumping ahead of myself. Welcome back, Dylan. Welcome back, Colin. Welcome back, Andrew. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm excited, man. I'm giddy. I'm ready to talk football. I'm ready to make picks, hopefully make a little bit of money. Let's go. But what we're going to be doing for these previews for the summer leading up to the season, we're going to be looking at every division one at a time. We're going to talk about every team in the division. We're going to do a little over the hedge, under the hedge in terms of total wins for the season. And then we're going to pick a division winner. And we'll do that for every division. Each episode will be every division. And then eventually we'll get into college conferences. But we're going to start with the NFL.
Let's get it.
So tonight, I figured let's start with the AFC East. Arguably, probably the best division in the NFL right now. I don't know. Is there another division that y'all would even throw in the ring for best division to like go against them?
NFC East.
I was gonna say maybe the NFC East, depending on.
Cowboys and Eagles, and I don't.
If the Giants are good, I don't know.
No, that's tough.
No. I don't know. Is anyone else? I don't know if there's anything that can really compete with it.
Not top to bottom. I don't think there's one that's going to have top to bottom.
If you look at wins, projected wins are definitely not. No one's going to have their worst team projected at 7.5 wins. So I think
best division probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I think best division.
One thing I'm noticing on the spreads for the futures on DraftKings, division winner for the AFC West, the AFC South, the Jaguars at negative 155, the favorite. That's, I hadn't thought about the Jaguars as the favorite in a while over teams like the Colts, or even the Titans. So,
yeah, I think that's one of the worst divisions, and that's maybe why the Jaguars. Yeah,
talking about breaking down the divisions, though, they have not been that good in the AFC South for a while, but they're definitely not going to be anywhere near the top teams, of course.
Yeah,
but just surprising,
and they've got
on the draft.
They've got a quarterback. The AFC is so stacked. There's no way I would think they'd be that high, but they've got a quarterback. They've got some weapons. But no, I know what you mean. It's weird that they have minus 150 as opposed to like the Bills in this division are still like plus 1.
Yeah, who is favored to win the division here?
So the Bills are plus 120. That's the favorite.
Plus 120.
You're still getting money. So it's a tight division. I'd say probably
or the Dolphins.
300.
Dolphins are 300. Yeah.
300.
Yeah, that's why my first thought was like, God, that's a good upset pick. But
you better bust that jersey out, man.
Hey, bro, listen, we gonna talk about the Dolphins here in a moment when we get into these picks. I'm gonna talk to you guys.
I think
I'm not even a Dolphins fan. I'm just, it's from fantasy football winnings last year. When I win a lot of money on a team, I buy the jersey. They got to do
it. That's good. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so AFC East. If we look at their schedules, everyone in the AFC East, if you're not super familiar with how schedules work, every team kind of has a very similar schedule in the division. They'll all play each other twice, which makes up for 6 games. The AFC East is going to play the whole NFC East, another 4 games. They're going to play the whole AFC West, another 4 games. And then every team will have 3 of their own games, and it always matches up to the winner of the AFC East will play the first place team in the AFC South and the AFC North, or whichever division they're not already playing. and then you play a random team in the NFC. Because of the 17th game, they just added that. So like the Bills, we'll start with the Bills. They're going to play everyone twice in their division. They're going to play the NFC East. They're going to play the AFC West. And because they finished first, they'll play the Bengals and the Jaguars, who finished first in their divisions. And they will also play the Tampa Bay Bucks. So they're supposed to, because the NFL is all about parity, they're supposed to have the hardest schedule of their division, basically. That's how it's supposed to work out.
They got a hard schedule.
It's a tough schedule. I mean, the Bengals and Jags are going to be – the Bengals are a good team. And like we said, I mean, the Jags are supposed to win. The Jags are going to be even better than last year. I can't remember who. I'm drawing a blank, but I think they have a receiver they're getting back that they didn't have last year. It's the dude that got Calvin Ridley that was suspended. So they're going to have
Calvin Ridley. Yeah, big ad.
They should be a lot better. We'll see.
If he's off the mental stuff.
He's watching the Hedge,
he needs to get on the Hedge. If he watches the show, he'll get better.
Bills, they're over under for this year. They finished first last year. They're supposed to finish first again this year. They are at 10.5 wins. It seems like a lot. It also doesn't seem like a lot for a team that's supposed to be like Super Bowl, aspirations. So it's hard to say. Like I said, they're going to play the Bengals and the Jags and the Bucks as their extra games. Their main additions this year were they drafted a tight end, Dalton Kincaid, out of Utah, who's supposed to kind of help Josh Allen. And they added a safety, Jordan Poyer, who's going to kind of help us shore up the defense back there. But otherwise, they've already got a pretty solid team. Von Miller is going to be coming back from injury. Josh Allen got injured last year at like week 8 or week 9 or something. So maybe that affected him a lot. I mean, it's hard to tell. Sorry. It's hard to say, man. So the Bills, their offense is definitely, especially their passing game, is their strength. Before I kind of make any sort of picks or anything, let me throw it to Dylan. Dylan, hearing all that on the Bills, what are your thoughts?
Oh, man. Oh, this is tough.
Yeah.
So, their schedule's a gauntlet. At the end of their season, they're going to be playing the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Patriots, in a tough division game. And then they're at the Dolphins. 10 10.5 wins. We've talked about it, Dawson, off air, but the fact that Daboll has left, and I just think that Josh Allen is alone there now without the coaching support that he's had in the past. And this is such a tough division. And then they got to play the Eagles and the Cowboys, who are both pushing for the Super Bowl. I'm going to limb, and I'm going to say they're a 10-win team, and I'm going to go under on this. And that's just because I think they're going to make some room for some other teams that we'll talk about here in a moment. I know it's kind of bold. I don't think they're going to win the division this year either. So I'm going to go under on the 10. And this one could come to bite me in the ass, but at this point in the season, I'm feeling some different type of way. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Under. I like that, man. Definitely a Super Bowl contender, a Super Bowl pick for a lot of people. Dylan says they're not even going to win the division. So that is a spicy take. I like it.
Spicy.
Let's go. Colin, what are you thinking? You think they'll go over, under? You got anything else to add? What are you thinking?
I think the AFC is going to be the hardest one to pin down because there's so many good teams and everybody's just going to be beating each other up. And so I think Dylan's right on the money with 10 wins. But to zag, I will say over that they'll make 11 wins. Okay. But I agree with Dylan. It's going to be right in that 10-11. You just got to think because there's a stretch where they have like 5 weeks of some of the toughest teams, and you can see them going 2-3, or you can see them going 3-2. And I think that's going to be where it really kind of comes down, and that's in that November, December range. They're playing Jets, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, and Chargers all in that little span. So I think it's going to be tough, but I'll say over 11 wins.
Okay. All right. So let's see. We got Colin is taking the over I'm guessing a lot of these picks are going to be, it's either going to be one game over or one game or a half game over, a half game under, because it's hard to pick. I would imagine even if you're winning 10 games, you're still probably going to the playoffs as a wild card team. But the AFC is going to be tough. So, Andrew,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this? You think over, under? What are you thinking?
I am going to make some bold statements here that maybe a year from now just goes viral. Some truth bombs that were dropped on this evening. But no, I'm looking at their schedule, and to be honest, I'm going to say that they win the first 8 straight. They're going to be 8-0 going into Cincinnati, November 5th. It's a Sunday. They're playing Cincinnati. I think that's their first real test, because most of these games are at home. The only other, I mean, they have to start off the season against New York. I think they got that. It's a primetime game, season opener kind of deal. Then they got to play Washington on the road later. Not too worried about that. New England, not really worried about that. So I think week 9, when they play Cincinnati, I think that's the first week that I'm like, you may have a real challenge there. Philadelphia, week 12 on the road. Kansas City on the road on the 14th. So those are the games that I'm highlighting. I mean, that last game, Miami, they lost to them this last season. But the reason why I think that last year they only lost a few games and they defended the home turf really well. They only lost, I think, 3 games or so. They had 1 game canceled due to injury, obviously. But I think they go 13-4 this year.
Okay.
So calling it 13.
All alone, baby, on the under. I knew it.
I love the Bills, man. I'll go down rooting for them and losing bets against them. I don't know. Like, I just want to see them win the Super Bowl. I think they're plus 600 right now, maybe plus 900 on the future for the Super Bowl. So definitely tempting.
Yeah. And if you're going to pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl, I feel like you might as well just take Josh Allen to win the MVP.
Not a bad pick.
Because, I mean, if they're going to win, he's going to be the reason why.
Yeah.
Dylan, you're frozen on us, but I love the face that you're frozen on.
He's cheesing on that under.
Or he's very excited. So Dylan, you might have to leave and come back. I don't know. But I will do my Bills talk. I am oh man. So I don't think the Bills are going to win the division. I think they've also peaked. But I kind of agree with Andrew that they've got a favorable schedule. Dylan kind of mentioned it. Dylan and I have talked. We've already talked about this in general like a month ago. So they lost Brian Daboll 2 years ago when he went to coach the Giants. And last year, Josh Allen wasn't as good. The offense itself wasn't as good. They have no run game. They averaged like 30 yards rushing a game. It felt like it was just trash. They had no one running the ball, or just I don't know if it was blocking or running back. I don't know whose fault it was, but man, that beginning of the schedule is very favorable. They get to go to Miami in January, so they don't have to go when it's like 100 degrees.
Right.
Really favorable thing at the end of the year there.
That's a good point.
17th game, I think they're going to beat the Bucks. I think they're going to go over. I think they're going to get 11 wins. I think they're going to go over. I think they're going to get 11 wins, but I don't think they're going to win the division. I think this is
like
going to be
between Philadelphia and Kansas City, they get a bye week. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you had to play those teams back to back, both road games, I mean, they do have the hardest division schedule. I would agree. We talked about that earlier, but I mean, they've got a nice setup.
But it's favorable. Like if I'm going to have to play at New York, I'd rather do it the first week before Rodgers, gets more. Because I mean, as a Packers fan, I'll tell you, the Packers lost the first week of the season a lot the last couple of years. And I mean, part of that was because Rodgers didn't go to OTAs and everything, but I still think it's a, he's still got new team members and learn new playbook and all that. So I don't know. I don't know if Breece Hall is going to be 100% by week 1 either. So I feel like I think it is a good pick to say the Bills go over, but I don't think they're going to win 13 games. I think it's going to be like 11.
I said it was bold.
Yeah, it is bold. And especially going 8-0 to start, that's going to be tough. But like you said, dude, I mean, looking at their schedule, Cincinnati is their first test. I mean, maybe at New England's going to be a tough game. Maybe the Jacksonville game that I'm guessing looks like that game's in England. Great Britain, whatever. England.
The motherland.
So cheerio. It's gonna be that could be tough. You never know. But like we said, they get Miami at Miami in January. They get all these other games. I mean, they get like 5 tough games in a row between New York, Philly, Kansas City, Dallas, LA. But again, I think I'm gonna roll with them to get the over. I think they're gonna get 11 wins. They've got one of my favorite players, Dawson Knox. That's like who I am, Dawson in Knoxville. So I always cheer for him. You know,
and he's questionable. I think that's why they got drafted that other tight end.
That's right. So they had to get Dalton. Dalton.
No offense.
A lot of people call me Dalton by accident. So you know, it all works.
Dalton and Dawson over there.
Yeah. So otherwise, I think Von Miller's going to come back. He should be. He got hurt last year. Micah Hyde, I love Micah Hyde. He used to play for the Packers. I hate that we lost him. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think, but like I said, I'm agree with Dylan. I think they peaked. I don't think they're going to go very far in the playoffs. I think they're going to be a wild card team.
You think Josh Allen is peaked?
I do. I think Josh Allen is kind of
Stephen Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, Diggs has have this whole weird, holdout thing. And yeah. I think Allen's, I think he's kind of peaked. I mean, the longer you play, it seems like the more people figure you out. If you lose your offensive coordinator, that hurts. I've seen it happen with Rodgers. I've seen it happen with lots of players. And also just look how much better the Giants quarterback, Danny Dimes, has been since they got Daboll. So, I mean, I think it speaks a lot to how good Daboll is.
Daboll's a great coach, man. I think he's that's where my whole pick came from. And we've talked about it, but your systems are so important in the NFL, and this is, I mean, I'm on the other side, so I expect to be, wrong with this one. That most people would expect me to be wrong on the under, but my pick does go back to the basis of systems driven, NFL, and you're going to say the same system, it gets stale, even if you're a pretty athletic quarterback. And the other thing is too, Josh Allen can get injured at any point. I mean, that guy puts his neck on the line.
Yeah.
So you just always have to factor that into under overs. When everybody's healthy, it's easy to pick this, but if you got a quarterback that runs, it's kind of a thing to pick the unders on those teams that have those really, impactful quarterbacks, because if they get injured, they're not even going to be close. But obviously hoping he doesn't get injured, because I love to see him play. But.
Well, and to that point, I mean, the defense looked completely different after Von Miller left. They still tried to run the same plays, and it just wasn't the same because they weren't getting that, 4-pronged attack.
They weren't getting the pressure.
It's gonna be fun though.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's worth noting that the other 2 teams who are the top AFC picks to win the championship, the Bengals and the Chiefs, are at 11.5. So if it was 11.5, I would take under, but I think 11 is going to be like that sweet spot for him. So that's why I'm taking over. So
we'll see.
Move on to the Dolphins. Man, I really, the Dolphins at first was the pick. I was like, man, I mean, I still, part of me thinks they could be such a sneaky underdog pick to even like win the Super Bowl, pick Tua to win the MVP, because it's going to be all about Tua. If Tua stays healthy, they're going to be really good. Is he going to stay healthy? I have no idea. Is their schedule? We can pull up their schedule. Is their schedule going to be favorable to get the teams that they want to come visit them when it's still really hot? They have a really good home field advantage in that sense, because they built their stadium to where the away team is literally baking in the sun the whole time, and the Dolphins sit in the shade. It's a great stadium advantage. So if we look at it right now, they're going to get the Chargers early. They're going to get the Patriots early.
On the road.
I'm going to get the other way. Yeah, they're going to get the Broncos early. And the Giants, and then
it's a rough schedule, honestly.
Panthers. Yeah, it's really not that great.
Look at this. On the road. These are all pretty good teams. They have to play Denver. That's their first home game. That's not a great home game, in my opinion. Then on the road again, Buffalo. I mean, they could easily go 0-4. I mean,
yeah, they could. And
probably 2-2, maybe.
Now, the same thing happened with them last year. They could have gone 0-4 and they went 3-1. So it's like one of those, like, and I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
You get to catch your breath, but then you got to play on the road in Philadelphia. And then by week 9, you're playing Kansas City. I don't know. It's a rough one.
It is. So the good thing is they're extra 3 games. So of course they play the NFC East, they play the AFC West, but they're extra 3 games. The Ravens is going to be tough, but they get to play the Titans and the Panthers, which should be on probably the bottom half of the league. So that should help their schedule a little bit. You just never know. I mean, if
your last 4 games are New York, Jets, Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo. I think that's
tough.
That's tough, beginning and ending.
Last year they kind of fell apart at the end. Not fell apart, but they went to where they barely made the playoffs at the end. But they had injury issues with Tua again, so it's hard to say.
True.
So they added Jalen Ramsey, which is a huge add. They lost Byron Jones, but still that should be better at the cornerback position in general. They've got Nick Chubb for the whole year instead of like half the year this year. But I mean, their defense was their weak spot last year, so it's really going to be, can these guys, can Wilkins, can Chubb, can they get pressure? Can Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey and Ogba, can they shore up the secondary and actually like get some stops in the passing game? Because otherwise it's going to be down to Tua. He's going to still have his weapons. He's going to have Hill. He's going to have Waddle. They lost their tight end, but they didn't really use him that much anyways. I didn't add any draft picks on here because they didn't pick until the second round because they traded him a lot. So they've traded a lot of picks away. I mean, it's all about Tua's health for the Dolphins, really. So in my opinion. So their over under is 9.5 wins. Part of me thinks, okay, if they go over, I'll go ahead and start. If they go over 9.5, I think they're going to win like 11 or 12, and they might win the division. They might go all the way to the Super Bowl. Tua could be the MVP. I feel like if you're going to bet on them to play well this year, you might as well bet on them to do really well. I don't think they're going to be like just barely 10 wins. I think they're going to either go big or go home type of thing. Saying that, because this division is going to be so good, when you have a division that has 4 teams that are going to be good, there's always going to be 1 or 2 teams that are a surprise and end up doing really bad. So I'm going to pick the Dolphins to go under. I think either Tua's going to get hurt or something's going to happen where it just doesn't gel. They lose a couple. They won a couple big games last year, like big comebacks, big plays at the end of the game. Really exciting stuff, and that's hard to repeat. So I'm gonna take them going under, whether it's 7 or 8 wins. I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the Dolphins going under. As badly as I really wanted them, I really wanted to pick them to win the division because that plus 300 was looking good, but I think it's too pie in the sky for me. So I'm taking the Dolphins to go under. I started with Dylan last time and ended with Colin. Colin, I'm going to start with you this time. Colin, you agree with me? What do you think? And you think they go over under? What's your thoughts?
I think that you have to, with their defense being so bad last year, the fact that Vic Fangio came in and now he's the defensive coordinator, I think that's a really positive thing for them to actually get them kind of in a proper setting and kind of push. And I love Mike McDaniel, and I feel like I'm swimming upstream, and so I'm going to say over on this one. I can totally see it going under, just to your point, because the fact that when you have like your quarterback is like, hey, I'm taking jujitsu to learn how to fall better. Yeah. That's not the glowing review you want to hear. So yeah, I think to that point, it could be an absolute S show real quick. But to that point, I'm going to say over. I trust in Mike McDaniel. I trust in Fangio. And yeah, let's get weird.
Yeah. All right, man. So I was wrong. I actually ended with Andrew last time, so my bad. But Andrew, now I'm going to go with you this time. So Andrew, what are you thinking? You agree with me or Colin?
I'm going under. I think that I was looking at their schedule last year, and they were doing pretty good for a while. They started off with a 3-game skid earlier in the season, but by the time Tua got hurt, I think they lost like 5 straight. They just really couldn't recover from that. He had a really awful injury that I know we talked about a few months ago when it first happened, and we'll see how he comes out. I wasn't impressed with their drafts, but I don't think it was their year. They had obviously traded off a lot of first round picks and all that. So then they got like 4 picks, and you got like a running back and not too many like big weapons that you'd really think is really going to improve us. Tyreek Hill coming in the season questionable, but he's already calling that he's going to have 2,000 yards. So we'll see. But I just looking at their schedule, it just starts off like a lot of away games, ends with some pretty tough games. They may get some mid-season success, but I'm with you. I think maybe 8 to 9 wins. I don't know what the over/under was, but
it was 9.5.
Yes, I'm going right at 8 or 9.
Okay. All right, Dylan in the Dolphins jersey. Mr. Waddle.
You think I'm going up? You think I think they're gonna have a good year wearing this jersey? That it's I'm not even a Dolphins fan. But I did have to rep Jalen Waddle because last year Jalen Waddle made me some money on some touchdown props in some 100-yard games, and he did it consistently. And his buddy Tyreek Hill did it pretty consistently as well.
Seriously.
It's such as like this division like could be 8-9, 8-9, 9-8, 10-7.
Mm-hmm.
All those teams, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I it's just gut wrenching to look at the games. That being said, I got to pick. I'm picking my storyline, which is that the Bills do take a dip this year. They get roughed up down the stretch. And we're looking at a close race for the division. Like I said, I think I like that Miami as a dark horse to win the division, even at like 11 wins. Like, I mean, it might be that close to win this division. So, that being said, I will take the over on this. Kind of what I'm seeing on the schedule, just a couple of things. I mean, they're beginning like playing like the Texans on the road. Like that should be an easy road game. Falcons at home, they should blow out, start 2-0. They could easily beat the Jags. I mean, the Jags, they can easily run it. Like, so they have tough games. Did the Broncos get it together by week 3 or whatever? I'm sorry, I was looking at preseason.
Yeah, I was like, you're confusing me. Yeah.
That's okay. So anyways, yeah, no, they do have a much tougher start to the schedule with 2 road games, but I mean, Broncos, do they have it figured out? Panthers, obviously an easier game. But I'm just building up to the excitement of the end of the year. I think they go on a run and it all caps off with a big win over the Bills in, week 18. So,
right.
They're in Miami. I mean, Jalen Ramsey came here. He's chasing championships. We know that. They were there with the offense. They brought in a lot on the defense, and they're chasing championships. So, go big or go home, like you said earlier. Over on the Dolphins, I think they're going to land right there about 11 wins, 12 wins, and win the division.
I like that. I think if you're going to pick the Bills to go under, you got to take the Dolphins to go over.
Somebody,
yeah, it's going to be like someone's got to win. Yeah. All right. So again, we've only got. I know we split that. So 2 overs, 2 unders there on the Dolphins. All right. Next we got the Patriots. This is probably the team I have the least to say about, honestly. They finished 4th in they finished 3rd in the division last year. It seems like they finished 4th because the Jets were so bad, but now the Jets they've added Rodgers, so it seems like a total new team. Patriots though, so there are 3 teams that they have to play. They play the Steelers, the Colts, and the Saints. Are there 3 other teams that they will play? Steelers might be better this year. Colts might be better this year. So hard to say. Saints, I'm not sure. I don't think the NFC South will be very good in general. They might be the other team. The AFC South, the NFC South, the NFC North might be bad divisions in general. But let's see. The Patriots, they added Juju Smith-Schuster. They added Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins, so they should have a better passing offense. Gesicki's a tight end, but he's basically a slot receiver, and I think he's really good, even though the Dolphins didn't utilize him well last year. They lost McCourty. They lost Jonnu Smith at tight end. They lost Damian Harris, who went to the Bills. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't have a whole lot to say about the Patriots. So their overall 7.5 is their over under for win-loss. They had a really good defense. I think they'll have a good defense again, but I don't trust their offense. I don't trust Mac Jones that much. And again, in this division that's just gotten better and better, not everybody can go over it. It's really hard to get 4 teams to win like 8 games in a division. That's kind of crazy. So, I mean, last year the worst team was 7 wins with the Jets, and they were really bad. So that's, maybe you can think about that. But I'm gonna take the Patriots under. I just don't see them winning 8 or 9 games. I don't know. I don't see it. I think the other teams, I think they're gonna go like 1-5 in their own division, and it's gonna be hard to win much else outside of that. Sorry. I think they're going to get stomped by the NFC East and struggle against the AFC West. So I'm going to go ahead and say under. My cats are trying to get. We ended with Dylan last time. We'll go ahead and start with you this time, Dylan. 7.5. You think over, under? What are you thinking? I'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. This is tough. I mean, it's like Bill Belichick is, obviously the guy. Patriots were, so good for so long. And he's still a great coach. Mac Jones coming into, I guess, year 2 here. It just feels to me with the move of like a guy like Juju, right? Bringing in a guy that's not been good anywhere else. And it looks like a flashy move to disguise maybe I just don't see him pushing for it. I think that, NFL teams it's so much, there is so much parity and year to year. And they play the long game with, okay, we need draft picks. This is the year I think that if any year that they were going to, I'm not saying throw the season, but, look around the division. Oh, we've got, we're playing the Eagles. We're playing, the NFC like under. I mean, 7 wins, 6 wins. Like I could see him going for 5 wins. And it's weird to say that with the Patriots because of their historic legacy in the division. But like, I just think that they look around the division, they'd say, I don't like this. Bill Belichick says, Mac Jones, I mean, here's Juju. Let's have a good year and see what you can do with a top-notch receiver, I mean, not even top-notch, but, at some point, but now kind of a guy that's been there. But he's no stud. He's no Jalen Waddle. He's no young, so I'm just throwing him out there because I got the jersey. But anyway, that being said, long story short, love Bill Belichick. I don't love Bill Belichick. I think he's one of the greatest coaches. I think he's kind of a dirty guy, dirty person, kind of a skeezy guy. And you know what skeezy people do? They throw the season when they look around and they see the 3 teams they're playing against, and they say, we need draft picks for next year. So under Patriots, I'm with you on that, Doss.
Yeah. I could see him starting 0-4 easily. Yeah.
Just throw it early, and then they can fire Mac Jones, and then yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Andrew, let me add this. So Dylan's going under. Andrew, what do you think?
I'm looking at their season last year. And does anybody know what they went last year? Probably
8-9.
Yeah, they went 8-9. And some of their wins, like they won 29-0. Let's see, they won 24-10. They were able to play a lot of defense in some of these games, and other games not so much. But I mean, they beat Indianapolis 26-3. I looking at their schedule for this year. They start off with Philadelphia, which is definite bummer, but it's at home. Then they got to play Miami at home. Then it's kind of a mix of road and home, but in general, if they could go even last year, and it looks like they had 12 draft picks, and a majority of them are defense. You got their first round pick was a cornerback, their second round pick was a defensive end. And so, if they could just keep up with what they did last year, that gives you another 8-9 season. And if they're able to play a little bit more defense than this year, they may squeeze out an extra game or 2. So, I'm going over.
Now, was last year the game where they beat the Bills in the snow with that terrible run where they ran for like 200 yards and the Bills couldn't stop them?
Yep.
See, man, that was a classic football game, but my God, that was ugly.
At the end of the season?
I don't remember when it was.
At Buffalo, 35-23, they lost.
No, they beat them, so it would have been. I don't know. I don't even remember. I just remember it was an ugly.
Oh,
The
if they
Bills
beat
couldn't
'em.
stop their run. It was just like, oh my god. I think I even picked the Bills, so that's why I was so frustrated. It had money on the Bills
It
to win.
looks like they lost to the Bills both games
Maybe that was 2 years ago.
in
Then
2022.
okay, I remember that. That was sad.
Yeah,
Alright.
they had a win against Buffalo 2 years ago, 14-10. That
That's
seems
what
like
that
a pretty
was.
low scoring
That,
game.
that had to be that game. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that would be rough to watch.
Yeah. It definitely imprinted in my mind. All right. Well, Colin, what are you thinking here? You gonna go over under 7.5 wins?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I think the fact that they had Matt Patricia as the offensive coordinator and they
Yeah.
went 8-9 is actually a testament
Yeah.
to the old ball coach. But shout out Steve Sprayer. But man, it's so crazy because my heart wants to say under, but just the fact that it is, I'm gonna stick with my original thought of under. But I mean, you could totally see him pulling out another 8-9 kind of scenario, just because you don't actually have Matt Patricia in the building, and so you've got to think that's worth at least one win. But I do think that this is going to be a real interesting year for the Patriots, not necessarily for this year, but what does next year look like? Because you got to think the Matt Kraft, the Robert Kraft and Belichick relationship has already been just the last, what is it, 4 years or whatever. And so I got to think if you have another terrible year this year, that it's going to be like, hey, man, like, I love you, but you got, one more year to make it or break it, or they just simply cut him out. So I'm going to say under, and then next year is going to be a real put all the chips on the table kind of thing. So I do think it's close, though, because I could see them squeezing. I mean, you could just see Belichick getting 8-9 wins, but I'm going to say under.
Yeah. I think it's worth noting they beat the Jets twice last year. And one of them was 10-3. So I don't see the Jets scoring 3 points against them again this year. But
I think Mac Jones is an excellent quarterback to grow on. So
yeah, I don't know.
Jury's out on that guy.
We're giving so much look at that. We're giving love to Steve Spurrier, to Alabama quarterbacks and receivers. Who are we?
I mean, the thing is
Just
like
saying.
Josh McDaniel. Wait, like Josh McDaniel's there with Brady, right? Like,
Yeah.
right now, who's their offensive mind that's coaching him up?
It was McDaniel with Brady. I don't know. It was Patricia last year. I don't know who the coordinator is.
Patricia's left. Who's coming in?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It may still be there. I think wasn't his son or was he the linebacker coach?
Someone Google it. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's a good question because I mean it's just like like I just feel like some of these teams with their
Bill
quarterbacks.
O'Brien. Okay.
Who?
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien.
So he ended it last year, and he's going to come back with them. So
yeah, we'll see, man. You could be right. I mean, I would love to. I just like it's hard for me to see Bill Belichick trying to grind towards an 8-9 year. Like it just I don't know. Like I mean, it's NFL. He wants to win football games. He wants his legacy to be most wins of all time. I mean, he's still going for that kind of stuff. Like I'm sure, but yeah, it's good. This is the fun division. This is fun. I like this division. Yeah. That's a good one.
So
we're all over the place on this one.
Vols fans. I live in Knoxville. I'm not a big Vols fan, but we're Vols fans. We're talking about Spurrier. We're talking about Waddle. We're talking about Mac Jones. Should we talk about the sanctions?
We skirted some serious.
It was all
serious
that Alabama Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah. Jeremy Pruitt is an inside agent for Alabama that was sent to Tennessee to disrupt the program.
Right. Okay,
Did you know this?
Was it more embarrassing to see the 11 wins vacated over 2 seasons, or just the whole season, the whole thing in general?
I think it's more embarrassing that we hired an Alabama guy. He came in and he got a metric ton of recruiting violations and trashed the program. And I'm expected not to believe that this guy isn't corrupt.
That's right.
Well, and to that point, so me being a Memphis fan in the old Calipari days, you always get a school cell phone and then you have your own cell phone. And all of Calipari's guys, that cell phone was in their desk drawer and they never picked it up. So the fact that Pruitt and all of his cats, like all of those texts, I mean, it is bonkers. How do you do that?
His wife was giving bags of cash in Chick-fil-A bags. What are we doing? Yeah, it's crazy.
It seems like somebody had a, inside horse.
Yeah,
Some.
I'll agree with Dawson. The most embarrassing part was that they vacated 11 wins over two seasons.
I know.
And we had all these violations. I'm like, that's embarrassing. We didn't even win anything. There's nothing to take away.
Only won 11 games over 2 seasons. I think that's the worst part. Yeah.
That's like your teacher catching you on a test that you got a 30 on.
Well, that's the point. It's like, you're getting caught and you suck. Like you're blowing your job. You're not doing a good job. And then also you're not doing a good job like cheating.
Yeah.
Like
call Belichick. Like, come on. Yeah.
Yeah. Call Bill. He'll get you on the good stuff. Now it doesn't make sense.
Okay. Okay. Actually, we've only got a couple minutes left. I've got some stuff to say about the Jets. Let me invite y'all all back real quick, so we don't run out of time in the middle of us. All right. And we'll see here in the next 15 minutes. All right.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all. We got our last team of the AFC West. We got the New York Jets. Probably, in my opinion, the most interesting team of this division. Maybe the most interesting team of the year. I mean, rarely do you get, a top quarterback that switches teams. I mean, we had Brady do it recently. I mean, obviously, Favre went to the Vikings and then the Jets. So following in those, the Jets and then the Vikings. But we saw how that went. So, it hurt me. As you can see, a big Packers fan, it hurt me to see Rodgers leave. But I also liked what we got for him because, this might be, I don't know how long he's going to play. I have no idea what's on his mind. He's the one player that I have no idea what he's thinking. I don't know if he knows what he's thinking. He seems to be like me in terms of, we enjoy certain things and you never know what's going on in the brain there. So, but the Jets. So last year, I will say, you know what? I feel like I've gone first the last 2 times, so I'll go last this time. But the Jets, they finished 4th in their division last year. They finished last. Along with the AFC West and the NFC East, they're going to play the Browns, the Texans, and the Falcons. Notable adds this year. It seems like they added like half the Packers team. They added Aaron Rodgers. They added Alan Lazard. They added Randall Cobb. They added Mecole Hardman. They also added Billy Turner, who's a backup tackle, but for the Packers, he was like a do-it-all lineman, and I loved him. So I think he's actually going to be helpful there because they have some offensive line needs. And they also took the Packers safety with Adrian Amos, who was like one of the only defensive players who started every game for a couple of years. So, my goodness. They lost Elijah Moore as a receiver, so who didn't seem like he wanted to be there. So I don't know if that's a big loss. They didn't add Breece Hall, but Breece Hall got injured last year pretty early after he was having a really good year. So you could say that, he probably won't be back full 100% at the beginning of the year, but he will be a big addition to have back for the year as running back. He kind of could do what Aaron Jones did, where he could run, he can catch it out of the backfield. He's very fast, very shifty. They've got an amazing defense. Last year, their defense was what kept them in all these games. They won 7 games with a trash quarterback. Sorry, Zach Wilson, but it's true. Maybe you had a bad year. Who knows? They won 7 games with a really bad quarterback and a really good defense. So can the defense keep it up? Can Rodgers take them to the next level? It's kind of Super Bowl or bust for them, it feels like. Who knows how long Rodgers is going to be there? I hope that he plays 8 or 9 games so the Packers get the first round draft pick out of that. Otherwise, I hope they lose after that. But no, I don't know. I'm still cheer for Rodgers. He's one of my favorite players ever. So I'm going to cheer for him. It would hurt if they win a Super Bowl, but it'd be cool. I like Rodgers. But again, I'm not going to make my pick first. I've gone first the last couple times. Dylan, you look like you're ready to say something. What are you thinking? Oh, sorry, 9.5. 9.5 is the over/under. Dylan, you think they go over or under 9.5 wins?
This is tough, man, to go first on this one because I wanted to hear the room. I wanted to feel the I wanted to feel y'all out on this
You
one.
want to go second or third?
No, it's fine. You already got me here. Yeah, I'll knock it out. So what I'm seeing here is what we call Aaron Rodgers and his friends from the Packers have decided to come on over to a good defense with the Jets. They said, hey, we're not loving it here with what we got going and Aaron, obviously, the fact that they have literally vacated, like it just feels crazy. They have vacated so many players, from one team. I mean, it seems like this is a huge orchestrated move by Aaron Rodgers. Like, all right, I'm not going to make this unless you bring all my guys with me. Yeah. And I mean, where were the Packers last year with Rodgers? I mean, healthy. I mean, in the past review, have they ever gone under
Yeah.
Has there been a season nagging thumb injury?
What year? How many years has Aaron Rodgers lost less than 10.5 games? How many would you say, Dawson?
I think twice, in 1 year he was hurt. So
okay, so 1 year he's hurt. Yeah, so proof's in the pudding with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, new system. Based on the storyline I've been looking at though with everything else, I got to kind of make it all match up. So I'm thinking big down year for New England. I'm thinking a step back for the Bills. I'm thinking a step forward for, the Dolphins. And I'm thinking a huge step forward as well for the Jets. Hey, if they write this stuff, man, it's like, this was a story that was written in a book. Like, I mean, this is the storyline. Aaron Rodgers is going to push that division. So, he picked a spot. He's a smart guy. He's one of the most sought after players in the league at that point, and he chose to go there. I don't think he's choosing to go anywhere that he's not expecting to win, 11 games. So I'll go over on this one. Definitely excited to see this though. And it could go either way, man. He could have a mental breakdown with this guy. It seems like he's out there these days. So I don't know if he's going to bring the intensity, but if he's bringing it over, if he can stay healthy, definitely going over on this one.
Yeah. All right. Colin, my fellow Packers fan, are you happy that Aaron Rodgers? Not happy. Yeah, there we go. Let's go. How are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers leaving? Are you glad that we got the haul that we did? Is it worth him leaving? Or, what are you thinking? And then give me the over/under.
It's funny. My initial thought was just like, is that all we got? And then a bunch of smarter people than me were like, no, we got an absolute haul. Yeah. So I've kind of Stockholm syndrome myself to believing it's all right. But I'm gonna zag a little bit, even though the defense is so awesome. They have a terrible, terrible offensive line. Yeah. And if there's one thing that drives Aaron Rodgers crazy, it's when he does not have enough time in the pocket. And I think that it's going to be close. I'm going to go under. I feel like my pain of him leaving has one game to do with it. So I could see, we've been kind of dancing around this whole time of like, they're going to beat up on each other. I could totally see them winning 10 games, but I think they do win 9 games. I think it's under. And I think they're going to be fighting for that wild card spot because the offensive line is just not where you want it to be. And Rodgers getting older, you're going to have a good amount of, third and longs, and he's going to have to scramble and do something. I just don't think he's got it as like he used to, 3 or 4 years ago. He's still great, obviously, but I'm going to go under on that one.
All right, Colin. Maybe, like you said, maybe it's pain from Rodgers leaving, but maybe not. We'll see. Going under.
Is that the emotional hedge?
The emotional hedge.
It is an emotional hedge.
Technically, the emotional hedge would be going over, and then you'd be okay if he wins, I guess. Yeah. But yes. All right, Andrew, what are you thinking?
Man, you said what was the over and under number?
9.5.
9.5. I'm gonna go under on that. They're starting off week 1 versus Buffalo. They get that game at home, but I mean, just because all of a sudden you got Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you got it all figured out. So, you're going to have some time. You're going to have to figure some stuff out. this first season with them. They got to immediately go on the road to Dallas. And then just a few games later, they got Kansas City. 2 games later, well, then they got to go to Denver and play Philadelphia. They got to go to Vegas, which I think that's a hard place to play on the road. You take your team to Vegas, so it's like right in the mid-season. So right
Andrew,
after that, you got to go to Buffalo.
Andrew, is that Vegas game? Is that early Sunday morning?
That is it's a night game, 8:20.
Yeah.
Well, that actually helps them out.
Yeah.
Hope they don't
Depends
go
on
out.
when they get there. Depends on when
true.
they fly in. But yeah, I agree. As soon as that game's over, you got to go to Buffalo. Then you got to play Miami twice, kind of within a month. I don't know. I just don't see them with a lot of offensive weapons other than Aaron Rodgers. Just looking at their depth chart, nobody really jumps off the page at. I see a lot of Qs in their depth chart. Honestly, they got a lot of people that are out still, people on the IR, people that are suspended. So I don't know. I'm gonna go under on this one.
All right, interesting. Okay. All right. So now me. So initially I did not like the Jets. I like the Dolphins to win at first, honestly, this division. But the more I looked at the Jets, I think they've got a favorable schedule. Finishing last in the division means you got the easiest schedule of the division. You get to play the Browns, you get to play the Texans, and they get the Falcons as their NFC extra game. I think those are 3 wins. I think they're going to beat the Patriots. Maybe they'll split games with the Dolphins and the Bills. I think they're going to go over. I think they're going to easily go over. I think they're going to win like 12 games. I think they're going to win the division.
Okay.
Just think.
So you think this is more of like a Tom Brady Buck situation as opposed to a Russell Wilson Broncos situation?
I do. I think they've got a really good defense, just like the Bucks had when Brady went there. I think they've got the weapons. I think Garrett Wilson, he's really good. He was good with a trash quarterback. I think he's going to be really good. I think Lazard is actually better than people think, and he works well with Rodgers.
Cobb, they do already know each other. I will give you that.
Yeah.
They got good chemistry.
Cobb can be sneaky on those third downs to help him out. I think Adrian Amos is going to help even more on the defense. I think they're going to have a really good defense, that kept them in games last year. And I think this team is going to be energized. I think they're going to be, they were like playing for, trying to win last year. I think they've got the quarterback. I think they're all going to be energized. I think they're going to be ready to go. The fact that Rodgers came in and did the OTAs, he did all these mini camps with them. He doesn't do that with the Packers. I think Rodgers has a chip on his shoulder. Last time Rodgers had a chip on his shoulder, he was winning Super Bowls. He was winning MVPs. And he won an MVP, a couple of years ago. He had the thumb injury last year, which I think hurt a lot more than we think about. Because he was just throwing the ball away here and there, and he was missing short passes. The offensive line is the only scary thing, like Colin said. But I think
McGovern can govern.
Yeah.
McGovern's got that.
I think, so that was the one thing. So their draft picks, they picked an offensive lineman or outside linebacker, an outside linebacker. They picked a cornerback. They didn't fix the offensive line like they thought they would. They signed Billy Turner, which is not, he's helpful in times when other people are hurt, but he's not. Their left tackle is the big issue. Can that dude Dwayne Brown, who used to be good like years ago, can he stand tall? I don't know. But I think Rodgers is going to get rid of the ball quickly. I think Breece Hall is going to be a big-time running back. He's going to be a big-time screen pass type of guy. And I think Lazard is a hell of a blocker. And I think he's going to help out a lot when it comes to blocking for that. So I'm saying over. I hate to say it, and this is my emotional hedge maybe because I don't want the Jets to win. I don't want Rodgers to win without the Packers. So I'm going to say over, and I think the Jets are going to win the division, and I think they might go far. I don't think they win the Super Bowl. I think the AFC is too stacked. I think they'll falter in the playoffs. But I might take a.
Do they win that first game against the Bills?
No, I don't think they will. I think they'll lose the first game. I think they'll start off rocky. Just because Breece Hall, I don't even know if Breece Hall is going to play that first game. But just getting them all, still getting. The Packers were bad at the first game when when there was the Packers, when it was Aaron Rodgers with the Packers. So I don't see him all of a sudden turning it around for the first game, really. He's not going to play in the preseason. And neither are most of these other guys. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're going to win the first game now, but I do think they're going to come out and start. I could see them beating Kansas City. I could see them beating Philadelphia, maybe. The only thing is, like, this division has really good defense. So,
yeah,
it's going to
They
be
can win their last 5 straight too. Like,
Yeah.
they can get their end of their schedule is just so nice. If they're
They can
anywhere,
win their last like
I saw
7.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they can win their last 7. I mean, I'm looking at Dolphins and Dolphins twice in there, but I mean, Falcons, Texans, Browns, Commanders, Patriots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if
Not
they
bad.
split with the Dolphins, they're 6-1 right there. At the end of the year, pushing for playoffs. I mean, they got to go play. They got to beat the Giants on the road. Like, I guess that's there's that Vegas game is scary. Like you mentioned, I think you guys. I don't know if you brought that up for them as well, but they play in Vegas, right? So
Yeah, week 10.
yeah. So Andrew mentioned that. So I agree there. So anyway, I didn't mean to just jump in, but I just think their end of their schedule is just
Easy.
cupcake. If they can make it through the first part, they should be able to cruise.
If they start out slow, maybe Rodgers will hit us with the RELAX,
Let's go.
Oh, God. I'm gonna cheer for him. I know. I cheered for Brett Favre on the Jets. Like, I remember when he came to the Titans game to play the Titans at Tennessee. I was wearing my Favre jersey, and he just tore him up, and it was like, yeah, it just made me feel good. He's still my guy. I love Rodgers. But I think we got a good haul for him. I think it was worth trading him. I think it was time to move on. I don't think he wanted to be there. I think he was going to retire if he stayed with the Packers. So I think he's got 1 year left, and then I think he's kind of going to, especially if it's not a good year, he's going to be done. So that's my thoughts.
Hey.
But
No.
with that, I've already said who I think is going to win the division. Let's look at the odds before we finish up. Let's pick our division winners. The Bills. The Bills are the favorite at plus 120. So as much as they are a Super Bowl favorite, plus 120, still good odds. The Jets, I think the Jets have really good odds at plus 270, just under the Dolphins. So for, having for having 9.5 wins, plus 270 is a pretty good odds, I think. Jets at 270, the Dolphins at plus 300, also at 9.5 wins. So very good odds there. It's all about Tua. And then the Patriots are plus 800. I don't see any of us picking the Patriots. I'm surprised they're not like plus 1,600 or something, because I'd be absolutely baffled if the Patriots win the division. But
what were the Patriots odds?
Plus 800. So I'm surprised it's way higher, because I think no way they win the division. But even the Texans are plus 800. So I mean, I guess it's not that crazy, but that seems not likely to me. So I'm picking the Jets. Let me write that down. I am picking the Jets to win the division. They're my pick at plus 270. Like I said, I really wanted to pick the Dolphins until I saw the Jets schedule. And I saw their record from last year. I thought they were worse than 7-10, honestly. They just seemed like they were. But, I mean, 7 wins with a bad quarterback seems really good. So, I think you put Rodgers in there. I think that's at least worth 3 or 4 wins. So, I'm taking the Jets at 270. Colin, what are your thoughts? Who are you taking?
I'm going chalk. I'm going the Bills. I think you got a strong defense, strong offense, and I think Josh Allen is always dangerous. So I'm going chalk with it.
All right, Dylan, what are you thinking?
Man, you taught me right into Jets theory, man. Like, oh my God, dude. Like, I'm sitting over here just like going through it with you over here. Like, what? And this is a bit like the division winner in this, like, it's a flyer for me. I think all these teams could be, about the same odds, and they give, the Bills are definitely obviously deserving of the favorite. It's like, if I'm not going to pick the Bills though, which I'm just, again, I got to stick, consistent with my theory here that they take a step back here. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I'm still going to just take the extra little bit of money there. the plus 300, because I feel like all things equal, you know, the Jets and the Dolphins. I just feel like the Dolphins have they have their whole squad back, and it's I could easily see the Dolphins win the division. The Jets beat them in the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers in the clutch. Like, the Dolphins seem like a better regular season team to me, just because they are coming back more complete than, obviously the Jets. And I mean, the Bills are definitely the most complete team in the league, obviously there, but this is, again, with my theory, they take a step back. So stay consistent with everything. Dolphins plus 300. So yeah, I'm excited about that one. Definitely excited.
All right, then let's see. Andrew, are you going to take the Patriots and give us all one team?
I thought about that. But I gotta say, I think I'm with Colin on this. I think it's the Bills. So right. I still think they're going 13-4. So if they go 13-4 on the season, then they're gonna win the division.
They should win the division at that. Yeah. At that record.
Yeah. to be consistent with what I've said earlier on in the show.
It would be hard for them not to.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Bills. You're gonna have to pry me off that team. So I think the story with the Jets, you did a great job. You had me, especially at plus 270. If I was wanting to take more of a risk, if I didn't want to do the plus 120 with the Bills, which I think is one of the more obvious guesses, obviously, but if you wanted to gamble a little bit, I like the plus 270 for the Jets. So that's not a terrible pick if you like what all Dawson was saying earlier. So.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I think that is like what we're saying. The 270 is a very it's very
tempting.
It's very tempting. It is, because it's like, whoa, man, 270 is really good odds for a team that might be like a Super Bowl contender. But so is 300 for the Dolphins. So
I figured out the hedge. So what you do is you take both the Dolphins plus 300, the Jets plus 270, and then you hedge with over on the Bills total if you think they're going to win it even money. And what you do there is you got plus money either way, those offset. And if you do the right amount of money on the Bills over, then you could get the over. You could even get a division winner potentially. You could get two. You're gonna want to make that heavy bet on the Bills over though if you're gonna do that hedge. But I'm just doing the numbers in my head. I thought that I'd throw that in there if you want to bet them all.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It doesn't work. The math doesn't work.
Yeah. And then the Patriots win. So yeah.
Yeah. What'd you say? And then the Patriots win the division.
Yeah.
And that's when I sell my house.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we get the mortgages. Yeah. Yeah. And then we let Lily bet, and then we see what happens. All right, guys. Well, that was fun, and that was just the first division. Woo! We got 7 more to go.
That's work right there.
My goodness. Woo! That was a lot. We'll see. So again, I'm going to put all this onto our spreadsheet that we had from the NBA last season. We're going to get a new sheet going, a new page going on that, so we can see what our bets are. You can look back at the NBA season and see how bad Colin did and how good everyone else did.
Let me tell you, I would do that again. I would do that again in a heartbeat, because Miami should not have been there.
Hey, that's maybe how good Miami did without Tyler Hero is why they should take Maxey instead of Hero. Now that's a conversation for another day.
I don't know.
Me and Andrew are back and forth on Maxey. We'll see if we get another show on that. I don't know. It's NFL season. It's college football season. I don't know if we're going to get NBA free agency or not, but not tonight, y'all. So, like we said, follow the hedge. Listen to what we said. See if you agree or not. Bet responsibly. Like Dylan said, hedge those bets. Do the smart thing. And thank y'all for listening. We will see y'all next for the NFC East. Guys, thanks for joining me. Good night.
Peace.
See you guys.